not only the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning, but the entire Sierra Leone. So therefore, I want to use this opportunity to have this gathering. I'm particularly glad to welcome all the partners that have been with us from inception to now, and all the new ones that have joined us. This ministry is blessed with a leader, political leadership that does not talk but act, that does not say but shows, and that does not promise but proves. Today, as I said, this is the first time in the history of Sierra Leone when, as a country, the government has realized the need for housing, which is a major human need that has been bothering this country since independence. And this agreement today is one that is going to put the fears of Sierra Leone to rest, especially those Sierra Leone who can afford to buy a house without going through the hurdles of brick making, employing workers, where you have casualty of your materials being stolen, etc., etc. But you walk into a house well prepared, you only go there with your furniture. So today is a landmark for the Ministry of Lands and as well as government of Sierra Leone, under the leadership of His Excellency the President, Brigadier General Julius Maada Bio. We have in our midst dignitaries, a galaxy of dignitaries that have come to join us from all walks of life in Sierra Leone, all civil society and non-state actors and government functionaries. But I want to particularly welcome our ambassador to Banjul, Her Excellency the Ambassador to Banjul, and also want to welcome our guests, our special guest, Mr. Njie from Banjul, and our Deputy Minister from the Ministry of Finance, and then our Deputy Minister of Lands and Housing and Country Planning. He has a name of one if you like all this. So today we are being blessed by all of you here. We recognize the importance, that's why we call you to help us create this location so that the message can go wide and great. This government is a government that cares for the people, and in life, I once read that if you want to do business and you ever remain to be sustainable, you go into a business of human needs, education, housing, electronics, etc., etc. These are daily needs people, human beings need. And the government in its wisdom has attacked those areas, and we can see, firstly, the major strategies government has made over the years is the free quality education, which is a basic human need, which people have been struggling to educate their children. And now governments have made that facility for parents to have their children educated at less expense to them. And now today, we are, as a government, handling a major human need. If you compare them, you can tell which one is more pressing: housing. And mind you, this is just the beginning. Or to say this is the tip of the iceberg. We have more in our kitty that will be coming. I want to welcome you all and say thank you very much for being here with us. And I'm going to steer the ship of this event. I hope to a successful conclusion. Thank you very much for coming. So let us now go to the program proper. We have, on the first item, one of the non-state actors that has always been harassing government to address this housing issue. And their harassment has been a batross on our neck and that of government. So that is why we decided to give them the singular honor. Let them say what they've seen and what we're going to do. Because after here, we are going to show the physical place where this housing is going to take place. And I want to entreat the speaker that after this, let us speak more that government is doing better for the people of Sierra Leone. Thank you very much, Alphonse Manley.
I think I can do without the mic. Mr. Chairman, the Honorable Minister of Lands, Housing and Country Planning, the Deputy Minister, Finance, Ambassador, all other protocols duly observed. Of course, let me recognize members of the esteemed Fourth Estate. You know, when His Excellency said in 2018 that we are moving in a new direction, today is a manifestation of that new direction. Because when the Ministry of Lands used to present its budget to non-state actors, where we scrutinize its budget and activity, a major gap has been housing. He spoke about teachers, not only teachers, the forces, other civil servants. Indeed, His Excellency did not make any mistake by appointing the Honorable Tuat Sensi to this ministry, where we now know this is the Ministry of Country Planning, where we now know this is the ministry responsible for housing. It takes solid leadership to lead that transformation. A round of applause for the TAF group. Let me remind you of your major values, and this is what we want to see, because CSO will be monitoring the process. I'm just reading from your website that you always put your customer first in anything you do. Professional, integrity, honesty being the driving force behind your investment, and we are happy about it. And we do not want you to deviate, neither shift the goalpost in the middle of the game. It will be unacceptable not only to the government but to all CSO. What you have signed here, you must respect it and you must go by it. Citizens must benefit from this. And this is what we want to see as civil society. I'm just coming from the GP Technical Working Group meeting. I've been appointed to the GPS today. We're having that meeting now at Kadisim. But because of the respect I have for this ministry, I know the transformation in this ministry, and I know I need to communicate this to my people, that what you have been yearning for is now here. Again, this book describes the president, the PSD item. The president is a man who don't talk but acts. The president is a man who don't show, who don't say but shows. Lastly, the president don't promise but prove it. It's beyond on us to make good use of this one. That's what I'll leave you with. We know how for so then begin building source a man and grabs near the land. We will not support it at all. And they talk this in a language they understand. That's when they were not begin. Ministry of Land don't give them place. Say government here. You go make documents, you get 450 acres and your grandpa left and you don't die. It is unacceptable. We're not going to accept. We want your total cooperation for this project, especially community leaders. We want your total cooperation. But this is not for the Minister of Housing. This is not for President Bill. This is not for the Permanent Secretary. It's for those vulnerable SierraLeone to see how we can lift them above the poverty line. With that said, I want to thank you and I want to ask for excuse. I will join you at John Lee, but let me just complete what we are doing as the GP, because we just received 22 million grants from the GP. Because our president.
All right, Alfonso, thank you very much for that Swiss presentation. And I know you know the people you are talking for, these headmen, etc., who are the Christopher Columbus of those areas. They always discover new places and make claims on them. But this time round, we are going to return Christopher Columbus back to Europe and say, here we discovered that long ago. All right.
Thank you.
In this business, we have people that does the design that fit for purpose. So this business cannot go on without them saying the word. That's why they have found it necessary to call for a statement from a representative from the Institute of SierraLeone Architect. My brother.
That's what we call it. Mr. Chairman, Honorable Minister, Honorable Deputy Ministers, the CEO of TAF, Madam Ambassador, Honorable, permanent secretary. I wanted to make you an honorable man. I know you're waiting.
After 5
Your
years.
time will come. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Manilius Gaba. I represent the SierraLeone Institute of Architects. I chair it at this time. I want to just say that this is quite an undertaking that TAF is going to implement here in SierraLeone. We do know the company. Of course, we've seen what you've done in the Gambia and also in Nigeria, in Port Harcourt. We've seen some of your developments, and we are grateful that such a development or such a developer is here in Sierra Leone to undertake this venture. And obviously 5,000 housing units is a massive investment, and it requires a lot of inputs, infrastructural inputs that would need to be there, water resources, roads, waste disposal mechanisms. So much has to be put into this. Obviously, we as an institute are interested to see what your master plan looks like for this mini development, so that we can also, put a stamp on it to say, yes, this is fit for purpose in Sierra Leone. We've been engaging. The minister spoke about this development some months ago, over a year ago, to us. And so to see it coming to pass now, we want to say we will partner with the ministry to make sure that what you're doing becomes successful. The Institute of Architects has the required skill sets and experience to help, at least in this jurisdiction. Many of us have undertaken similar projects in other places. So we will by no means be partnering with you if you call upon the Institute of Architects to make this program, this project, a success in Sierra Leone. Thank you very much.
I think you can keep the mic there while you don't have a very good voice. Thank you very much. You can hear the chairman speaking. And as he said, one thing that's good about this assignment is that this time around, African believes in themselves, and Africans are built for themselves. As you heard the profile of our brother, Mr. Njie, he has operations in Banjul, he has operations in Federal Republic of Nigeria, Port Harcourt. So he's a no-mean housing professional. So we are very confident we are going to get the best, apart from Abuja and Ghana. That's what we want, and Banjul, we want the best from all these ones. Using the experience. And I'll call on another representative who are also vital. That's the Institute of Engineers. If you have a representative here, SierraLeone Institute of Engineers. Anybody? Okay. I want to believe my brother there covered all the areas. So I want to thank you very much for that. I want to also call on the public-private partnership unit and Office of the Vice President to make a statement, because this is a PPP business, public-private marriage, to make good for the people of Sierra Leone.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, let me just I can be much more audible. So, Mr. Chairman, the Honorable Minister of Lands and Country Planning, the Deputy Minister of Finance, the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Njie, our partner, on behalf of the Public-Private Partnership Units under the auspices of the National Investment Board, in the Office of the Vice President, we are honored to be here to witness this joint venture agreement signing between the governments of Sierra Leone, by extension the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning, and TAF African Global for the design, finance, operate, sale and management of an ultra-modern city where you are going to build 5,000 houses, including the infrastructure. This is a real groundbreaking, but what we are expecting, I remember vividly when the ministry submitted a list of proposals to us, about 7 different proposals. When we are doing a detailed due diligence, I can say TAF stands out in terms of their technical competence, in terms of the ability for them, clear demonstrations that it can be able to deliver the project. We don't know them. We have never met them. On the basis of the record that's right in front of us, we are able to tell the ministry that we should start with TAF. So even though the ministry wanted to move with other, we said, let's start with TAF. And we had these negotiations with TAF, and we know, exactly that they know exactly what they want to do and what they want to achieve. But clearly from what we are expecting as Africans, the reason why normally people say the Chinese are working in Africa is evidence on the ground. The sooner we are able to bring evidence on the ground to demonstrate that we can be able to deliver this project. We know that we are going to achieve, we have been able to achieve commercial close on this project, but how soon we will be able to achieve financial close on this project. We want to admonish you to see how best you can be able to spend out of equity, to clearly display an evidence on the ground for us to be able to know that we will be able to move this project forward. We want to applaud the ministry also for leveraging private sector to be able, because in most cases I often tell ministry departments and agencies that we cannot be sitting and waiting for Ministry of Finance to provide finance for us to be able to deliver projects. We must be able to leverage private sector opportunity to public-private partnership to be able to deliver projects. We need to applaud the ministry for this. We know that housing is a key social outcome relating to health, education, and the overall well-being, but also economic objective that it will create jobs and we will be able to use it to sustain economic growth at the same time. One of the most critical aspects of development that can improve the quality of life and access to better economic prospect is to have an affordable housing. Millions of SierraLeoneans, however, do not have access to adequate shelter. We know what COVID-19 pandemic has taught us. The need to have an adequate housing during community lockdown or self-isolation, social distancing became even more important for us to be able to address this. We will celebrate these first commercial transactions. We'll be looking at much more to come. As I mentioned, that we have about 7 downstream projects again that we'll be looking at forward. With that said, I will pause and say thank you very much.
Thank you very much, PPP, Acting Director, for that comment and observations you made. I believe Mr. Njie, our brother, will take them to note, and then I have no doubt we deliver as we are all expecting. Everything you do in government must have a legal background, and so for that note, we are calling on the Solicitor General or his representative to give a statement, to make a statement for us. The Solicitor General or his representative.
Yeah, I'll do that. All protocols observed. I was given this letter just a few minutes before I came here, so I managed to scribble something. On behalf of the Attorney General or the Solicitor General and Minister, on behalf of the Solicitor General and the Ministry of Justice, we appreciate this venture and we'll stress on the words the affordable housing, which we believe is a source of alleviating the housing crisis in Sierra Leone, and we want to encourage the Ministry of Lands to do due diligence with regards to lands they are going to occupy. As a colleague raised the issue of landowners at the end of the day bringing claims with regards to property, and we hope that this whole venture will be viable, and we hope to have competent and quality structures being delivered to the country of Sierra Leone. We pray that this whole process will be fruitful and help the housing process in Sierra Leone. Thank you.
I like the female voice, very soft. Very, very soft. Make it all legal. You can see the legality in the feminine voice. So we are covered. Legally, we are covered. Once I show we are covered legally. The SG is fully represented, and his boss, the Attorney General Minister of Justice. Okay, we now have the double honor to Honorable Chair Quintin Salia, who is our chair, apparently, for Committee on Lands in our House of Representatives. Honorable sir.
Salam Muhammad. Praise the Lord for the Christians. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And particularly, I want to thank the Minister of Lands, Housing and Country Planning, and by extension, our President, for giving me, the Chairman, and by extension, the Parliament of Sierra Leone, this great opportunity to be a part of this all-important and record-breaking event. You all agree with me that housing is a very big problem in Sierra Leone. I am particularly happy for this venture. One, because I believe after this project might have completed, I believe this will go a long way to minimize the aspect of housing deficit in this country, and particularly in the western area. Now I stand to be corrected. If you look at the housing deficit in Sierra Leone, it is approximately 500,000 housing deficit. I stand to be corrected, or a little over. And that is the deficit we have as a country. And if you compare this figure to other countries in the sub-Saharan, you realize this is but one of the highest in the sub-Saharan, which means as a country, we have to do more to actually minimize, if not eradicate, the housing deficit we have as a country. And so it gladdens my heart to see a very focused minister. Ever since he came, he knew the problems before taking up office. The president knew the problems before taking up office. And the more reason, I'm very much happy, and by extension, the entire parliament, to be a part of this history making, because we believe all of us in this room are going to be part of this history. That in recent times, this is but the very first time for a president and a minister to undertake such practical ventures. And if you look at the concept around the project, the concept is actually targeting the low-income civil servants. Those people who can never think of achieving what they are about achieving through this project when once completed. Because it's not targeting people on the higher side of income, it's targeting low-income people, teachers, police officers, military officers, as the case may be. So you realize the minister is ruling from passion. And even some of us on the average side of high income, we suffered housing deficit. Except for very few lucky ones. But all of us suffered this. And even as we speak, we are suffering housing deficit impact as a country. And even as individuals. So the more reason I believe this is but the right move taken by the government through our dynamic minister. And the more reason all of us should be on board to actually support this project in our diverse ways. And the more reason, as a House of Parliament, we are very much happy, because this was a special message from the Speaker of Parliament, that it's a history making. And if you look, I stand to be corrected, I don't think we have housing policy. We don't have housing policy as a state. And if you look at what is happening, there is so much migration from the rural communities to the urban communities. Why? Simply because of urbanizations. Because of want of urbanization, migration is on the rapid to the urban cities. And when once they come, what is available? Either the housing facilities are of very low quality, or they are not really safe. If you go to the slum communities and check the total number of people living in those slum communities, those are unsafe housing. Or they might be totally unaffordable. People can charge you $10,000 just for you to sleep. As if when it's time for you to die, because of you live in a 10,000 house, your life will be rejuvenated. That is the problem we have. So the more reason we are very much happy, and all of us should be here to support our dynamic minister. For the first time, it's a history making. And the more reason I believe I'm very much happy to be part of this history as the chairman of the committee. I will ever go to say we are the first set of people who succeeded in giving affordable housing to low-income earners. And finally, before I put the mic down, let us know this is just for the start. I also want to use this opportunity to actually appeal to other investors to show interest in this particular area. Because what we are about getting as a state, which is about a 5,000 housing units, if you compare to the housing deficit and multiply by 100, we have just succeeded to get 1% of the deficit. And so the more reason a million mile journey starts with a step. This is for the first step. And I believe with the kind of minister we have, he's relentless, focused, and determined to achieve. But he cannot do that alone. So on behalf of Parliament, I want to thank the minister for giving me and the Parliament the opportunity to be part of this history-making event, and his deputy also for giving him the support, working collaboratively, and the entire team of the ministry for giving him the space to actually do the magic it's about doing. I thank you all once again, Honorable Clinton.
Thank you. Honorable, thank you very much for that. And, as he said, he's representing the House of Parliament here. I will not have been here speaking to you. I'll be facing the Public Accounts Committee this morning. When I told them, in fact, the secretary called me. He said, Mr. Governor, I heard you are signing a very important agreement. So you can request for an extension of your summit. So you can sell for these occasions. So Parliament excuse me for being scrutinized this morning for my past year's expenditure. We are getting to the height of the occasion, and we are about to hear another major voice of a female. And this time is no less a person than our Excellency, the Ambassador to the Republic of Banjul, who is flying our green, white, and blue flag high in Banjul. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I crave your indulgence to stand on existing protocols. When a lizard falls from the Iroko tree, if nobody praises it, it will praise itself. 21 months ago, His Excellency was flying over Gambia. And he saw what TAF, I usually refer to him as TAF, was doing on the ground in the Gambia. And then we met in our office. Every Monday we meet to discuss what we want to do. We took a decision to go to a few people who are developers and so on. And I wrote to him, and he told us to go to his office. We went to his office, 7 of us. Instead of me and somebody else, there were 7 of us who went to that office. And he knew we were serious about what we went to tell him. At that time, he was preparing to go to Nigeria. And he said, because you have come, you didn't waste time, and you have come in your numbers, I will divert my course to go to SierraLeone. That is how we came to SierraLeone. 21 months ago. Today, the reality is on the ground. Thank you, TAF, for believing in Sierra Leone. And God bless you. Thank you. And thank you. And thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I told you, you can see when His Excellency did his appointment, there was no mistake. And she was over there thinking of what is needed here. And you can see how she was able to maneuver and bring such an important brother to join us in the family. I keep saying, now Africans is proving that we can do it ourselves. We can do it. Africans can do it better even. We can do it best if only we believe in ourselves. And I think we are beginning to believe in ourselves, and we are doing it. We are proving it beyond all point. I will talk about money. Everything is money. So, I have the honor to call on our Deputy Minister of Finance to give us a flair, give us the confidence that all we need to get this process succeed, government has. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. He's the money man.
Mr. Minister, please excuse me to stand on existing protocols. I think today is a very important day for us in Sierra Leone and also at the Ministry of Finance, because what we are seeing as the ministry is to see how we can improve the fiscal space. And today is a testimony of a very sustained and determined action by our Honorable Minister. For me, anything in life, if you want to improve, you have to take your time, and he has manifested it. For me, this is a groundbreaking. We have never seen this before, and I was quite happy to be here, because when I heard the word TAF, because I have been fortunate to see some of his properties in Nigeria, and also I had the opportunity to fly with him in about 4 or 5 years ago. So we had a very brilliant conversation. So I'm happy for the confidence in coming to Sierra Leone. And when we saw the agreement of the Ministry of Finance, we knew it's something that's going to be benefit to people of Sierra Leone. So we looked at it properly, and we believe it will add value. And the other thing again, I can tell you, a lot of people have started inquiring about these properties from Australia. Even yesterday, there was a WhatsApp message which you sent, and that one really resonated well for the people of Sierra Leone, even us. I know that property is for low commanders, but please, I hope that what you're going to see today, the kind of response you try to consider medium and higher level properties. So on behalf of the Ministry of Finance, we want to assure you that we'll do all our best to ensure your investment is protected. And that brings us to a point. At the Ministry of Finance, we have set up a private sector desk, which ensures that we take care of private sector intervention. And I'm also delighted that today we have with us the National Investment Board, which is very serious, for which the President chairs. And this is a manifestation, which, and the public, as noted by the PPP, we are very serious about investment, and this is just the beginning. And a lot of things have been taking place, and it will unfold. There are other housing agreements that are in the pipeline, so please be assured that SierraLeoneans, we are working on things. Come after June, I can tell you, you're going to see something formidable that will happen in Sierra Leone. So on behalf of my minister, I want to say thank you and continue to do a good job, Mr. Minister. Thank you.
Let's just stay there. Let's just stay there. I think I'm audible enough. All right. Now we come to the man himself. The guy. Enjoy your welcome.
Good afternoon. I will also indulge you to stand on the same protocols as previous speakers. Since it's a partnership between the Republic of Sierra Leone and my company, I just looked at the list and there are about 9 speakers on one side of the party. And then I am
on
here
your side.
standing alone. You're on my side.
Yes.
Okay. So that means that I will try and, well, I'll try to be brief, but allow me to speak on behalf of the other 8 that are not here. A reason why I want to do so, I just want to appreciate those who played a part in this project so far. Let me first start with His Excellency the President. Actually, he can claim ownership of this, rightfully, and his lovely wife. You know, Her Excellency, the First Lady, is a sister of ours. Obviously, as you know, she's half Sierra Leonean and half Gambian. And it all started in February 2019. I was away in the US and they were in the Gambia. She gave me a call because she has my number and called me and said, look, my husband wants to see you. So I responded that I was in the US, but when was the day that I was supposed to fly? So fast track I came, and that day, that night I met them. And he appealed to me that he wanted me to invest in Sierra Leone. It didn't happen immediately because I was here before in the days of President Kaba. And I must be very honest, I wasn't impressed at the time. So whilst dragging my feet, I called her my headmistress. She came and she behaves like a real headmistress. She came and gave me instructions to come here. So, and the way she came, as she said, with a full delegation, 7 of them, and mostly ladies. So I had no choice but to come. But I wasn't disappointed. I came and I was impressed. And it was like a guy, you know, on falling in love at first sight. I came to Sierra Leone and I was impressed. And I will tell you the reason why I was impressed. First are the public servants that I dealt with, headed by the Honorable Minister, the Honorable Sanusi, Turat Sanusi, said Sanusi. He had a team, very proactive. I was shown around, and it was on that trip, it was in June 2021, that we signed an MOU. I came for fact-finding, but he made sure that an MOU was signed before I left. So this was very impressive. It doesn't happen all the time, especially with African governments. Not to talk of his support staff. Everybody was very proactive and very supportive. So I left on that trip convinced that I need to come back to Sierra Leone. Obviously, it wasn't the easiest of journey because we had to negotiate. And that is the right thing to do. It's good that you take your time, cut all the T's, dot all the I's, so that when you hit the ground, you don't have any obstacles. So we did so. Today we're here to sign the MOU. To sign the JVA, the Joint Venture Agreement. Let me just allay the fears of the previous speakers, like the Institute of Architects. We are a Pan-African housing development company. And within our staff, we have several nationalities, including Sierra Leoneans. When there was a civil war in Sierra Leone, I had quite a number of Sierra Leoneans who were in my top management. And we believe in the Africans doing things with Africans. I am so proud that in this hall, we haven't seen any other race other than Africans. And also as West Africans. So we work on competence. We don't look at boundaries or borders or nationalities. But as Africans, wherever we find competence, we will tap into it. So if we find Sierra Leoneans that are competent to do this work, we will not go anywhere but here. So competence is key because we need to give value for money. So we'll be looking for qualified, competent Sierra Leoneans to take a lead in this. Ownership is Sierra Leonean. I am an African. I started this company about 33 years ago. It's a sole ownership. I own this company. So the buck stops here. So I just want to assure you the fact that we are here to work with any institution that will add value to this project and take ownership. I think on that note, I would like to again thank everybody. No need to talk much. Bureau of the Public-Private Partnership, I was also impressed the way you handled this. It's a lesson for every African country that if you want to attract investment, you need to have a one-stop shop. And a one-stop shop through a Bureau of Public-Private Partnership. We have been very successful in Nigeria. In Nigeria, we developed in Port Harcourt 1,200 units on a very difficult area. If you know Nigeria, Port Harcourt is almost a non-go area, even for Nigerians. The ground, we had to sand fill about 850,000 cubic meters of sand before we built. But the reason why it was successful was that the governor at the time had a Bureau of Public-Private Partnership. So this is a lesson for African governments to learn that business must be channeled through a one-stop shop. And I am happy that you have played the role that you have played. And you also chose us to pioneer this process. This is part of 1 million homes that we are trying to develop across sub-Saharan Africa over the next 20 years. So for development, it must be for a long term. At my age now, every time I talk about my age, people look at me and they look up again. But I'm sure I'm one of the eldest in this room. In the next 5 days, I will celebrate my 66th birthday. So obviously, if I'm talking about 20 years, God knows what will happen by then. But a vision should live beyond one's life. And that's what we're doing. We're planting the seed for the next generation of Africans to take over. And that's what we're here for. We're trying to build an African team that can raise our hands and say, yes, we can do it. So investment, it will not be no longer synonymous in Africa to Chinese, American, British. No. We have the expertise, we can do it as Africans, and we'll do it. On that note, thank you very much. And I tell you next time I will speak to you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll just leave it there.
I want to say thank you very much to our brother for those kind words. And indeed, he touched my heart as a true Pan-Africanist, believing that Africans can do it best. And so this show, we can do it without aid. We can do it without foreign support, because we are as competent as any other race on Mother Earth's surface. So we are now at the height of this occasion, wherein I'm going to call on our Honorable Minister, whom I told you earlier, he does not talk, but he acts. And he does not say, but he does. Not promise, but he delivers. My minister, our Minister of Lands, Housing and Country Plan, Dr. Turad Senesi. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning. The Honorable Deputy Minister, Minister of Lands, Housing and Country Planning. I was in the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education and transferred here, so every now and then it keeps reminding me that I belong to that community, the academia. The Honorable Deputy Minister of Finance, the Ambassador to Banjul, civil society organizations present here, the head of the military. Deliberately we invited them here because there is a cabinet order or conclusion giving them the authority to protect all lands, especially those for investment. So I'm very grateful that you are here, sir. Thank you very much. I also saw the field commander. He's also here with us. The engineers, architects, the public-private partnership agency present here with us, SALHOC, the police, my friends, the press. when I took over, there was this constant bashing here and there. But sometimes you just keep your cool head and then have the focus. What you were doing, you have to shape me and prepared me for the task. Thank you very much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, currently, just you heard from the other speakers, we have about 500 housing deficits. And many a time, the towns and cities are greatly affected. So it gives us a clear picture of what is needed to address the housing problems in Sierra Leone. In Western area, you find people living in slums, and even residential areas today are becoming market centers. Go to Hill Station, go to Spolo. Those were residential areas, Kianma Road, Brookfields. But today, all these places are market centers. We have to reverse the trend, and this requires effective town and city planning. We have to reverse that trend in the interest of Sierra Leone. One such tool we can use to reverse the current trend is by introducing affordable housing with a design that shows a city outlook. It is important. When he assumed office, His Excellency the President promised the people of Sierra Leone that there is going to be access to land and affordable housing devoid of region, political party that you belong to, gender or status. And today's event is in fulfillment of that promise. The joint venture agreement we are signing today is going to usher in a beginning of the introduction of micro-cities in Sierra Leone. It took us so long to get to this point. This is simply because it is a new model in Sierra Leone. And I want to thank Mr. Mustapha Njie and team for the courage and steadfastness during this period. I want to also thank the team in the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning, the Ministry of Finance, the Public-Private Partnership Unit, the Judiciary of Sierra Leone for the endurance and support to get this job to where we are today. Too many benefits are there. Too many. One such benefit is going to be a fact that we are going to have planned cities with probably a proper layout that will provide for roads. In fact, that is not probably, that is sure. Roads, water supply, electricity, and other social services depicting a city characteristic. It is going to increase employment. That one is going to enhance, and then of course, there is going to be income distribution. Transfer of skills is assured, use of local materials, decent homes in a decent environment, and above all, it is going to reduce fraud on the part of contractors, especially for our colleagues, brothers and sisters in the diaspora. His Excellency the President met with Mr. Njie, the Executive Director, and requested him to come to Sierra Leone to demonstrate his skills in the housing market. As a Pan-Africanist, he agreed with the President that homegrown African skills or knowledge should be used to solve the problems of Africa. Investment is key to the well-being of Africans, including Sierra Leoneans. So if we are talking of sustainable development, we have to use the African skills to address the problems or challenges that we have in Africa. TAF Global Africa has demonstrated this in other parts of Africa, and today we are going to formally welcome TAF into Sierra Leone. HE, the President, Julius Maada Bio, has directed that housing should be a thing of the past in terms of its deficit. As a disciple, I have no option but to pursue that directive. I therefore wish to call on all SierraLeoneans at this point in time to join us to fulfill this dream, the dream of His Excellency the President. We want to have micro-cities in Sierra Leone, and we want to ensure that we have decent environments. We need to demonstrate that we are serious as a nation. To those that are in the habit of being a qualified land grabbers, I think there is an opportunity for them to understand that Sierra Leone needs to move forward. On behalf of His Excellency and the people of Sierra Leone, I want to welcome you, Mr. Njie, to Sierra Leone.
Thank you.
And I want to see TAF Global Africa flourishing in Sierra Leone. I thank you all, and God bless you all. Thank you.
All right. That is the highest this location, and we are coming to the major aspects of it. But the message there from the minister is, you go tell Mongo Park, to Macalobos, they discover places. At this time, there's two places to discover. We discover the long and Vasco da Gama. Tell them there's no place more to discover. There's no more land to discover. We are going to take everything for the benefit of every Sierra Leonean. As I said, we are now coming to the height of this occasion for the signing of this airport making bottles. This airport making event.
So this is the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning. So today the government of Sierra Leone through the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning, they signed a joint venture agreement with a Gambian-based real estate company to construct 5,000 affordable homes in Sierra Leone.
Yeah. Page 20. Page 20 and 21. Minister signs on page 20, and our brother signs on page 21.
Just double check that. Sign and just shake hands with one spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sierra Leone just successfully signed a joint venture agreement with the TAF Global Africa real estate company to construct a micro city in Sierra Leone. This will be the micro city where initially they look at 5,000 housing units there for the people of Sierra Leone, especially middle and low level income.
On this kind of occasion, the marriage has been celebrated. And normally in Africa, what do we say? Today, Sierra Leone and our brother from Baju has signed this agreement, which is going to provide 5,000 affordable houses for Sierra Leone. This is for real, eh? Africans can do it best.
So the official signing done now, and then in the next 1 hour or so, we go there na the site outside the affordable housing project get for take place, and we go get for end this broadcast shortly, and then continue with the rest of the broadcast na the site outside the project of constructing a micro city therefore actually take place. So
where the construction is going to take place. Where